Hey, it's Midnight Sun here. We're back with another leveling video, and this one is going to be focusing on the Demon Hunter. Now, this one is a lot of people's favorite classes for its speed. It's got great pushing builds, although not the best pushing builds, depending on the season. But it's probably one of the best farming builds to get on. So we're going to do the same thing we always do, which is opening the Challenge Rift cache. We're going straight over to Kadala, gambling for bracers, looking for Wraps of Clarity. If you get Wraps of Clarity, then that's a wrap. Sorry for the bad pun. But you'll be able to stay alive, no problem, once you have the Wraps of Clarity. Now, obviously, you have to wait until level 16 to equip them. So in the meantime, our goal is going to be to get there. We're going to upgrade the blacksmith to rank 12, and then we're going to go over to the followers. And at this point, again, it depends on what class you have for the weapons and stuff you want to take. So the Templar, we're going to take both of his weapons and scrap them. And then since we use ranged weapons ourselves, we're going to take the bow and actually equip the bow for a slight boost in damage here. So unlike the other classes, we aren't going to be using the Templar's weapon. Now, salvage that. Again, this isn't absolutely necessary if you've opened the Challenge Rift cache. If you haven't opened the Challenge Rift cache, you absolutely need to do that step. And then we're going to be moving over to the altar, and sacrificing the first node on the altar. After doing that and making sure we've, again, gambled everything, we've got all the items that we need on us, we're going to go straight over to the Ruins of Sescheron. Now, if you want to, you can also go to the Temple of the Firstborn first and screenshot some of the enemies if you plan to go back to this area. It's not crucial, it's not absolutely necessary, but any areas you want to go back to and you want them to be stuck on that lower level, you can screenshot them pretty easy by just doing that. And we're ready to move through the area. Everyone following along with this video, the area will be different in terms of where the exit is. The general strategy I have is just to keep going straight, and then anytime the path opens to the left, I tend to follow it. So I go over here to get that shrine. There's a path to the left. I'm going to continue there, and I'm just going to continue going left until the game kind of forces me up or gives me an option to go down. If the option is available to go down, I go down. If it forces me up, I continue along in a circle, moving up into the left and then up into the right and then to the bottom right, trying to search for the exit. Since we're on normal difficulty, we take out those guys pretty easy. Now, the Demon Hunter is a ranged build, so it's going to have an easy time maintaining its massacre compared to the Barbarian and the Crusader. However, unlike the Barbarian, the Crusader, and even the Necromancer, the Demon Hunter does not have access to an early skill that's area damage, and it's going to struggle with pretty much any of the skills in the beginning that you give it. So this means that early on, it's going to do absolutely fine maintaining this massacre, taking out a couple of the enemies that follow you, and making your way toward the exit. But if you ever drop the massacre and the enemies around you get pushed to a higher difficulty, it's going to be very, very difficult to stay alive. So I'm showcasing that here. We're continuing through. I decide to try and get this guy for the bounty completion here, as well as to have somebody else to follow along. I think he distracts the enemies a little bit, so I went ahead and picked him up, and we managed to save the massacre there, which I did not think we were going to be able to do. We've unlocked caltrops, which aren't too useful in the beginning here. We, of course, have Impale, and we just made our way down towards the exit. As you can see, we dropped our massacre once, and we're now level 8, which isn't bad. And sometimes when I say these levels, this is only what I could see. It's very fuzzy on my end when I'm looking at the playback quality recordings. It's on a lower quality for myself here. So I'm pretty sure that's level 8. Now, we get the smoke screen. The smoke screen can help us stay alive by making it so the enemies can't see us. Now, here's something to be aware of. You cannot drag the enemies like you could with the other classes here, because there's nothing to do massive area damage. The enemies follow you, and once they get around you, there's no way out. So you will die in this area, even on normal difficulty. The best thing to do is to try and engage the enemies, work your way back towards an area you've already cleared, and drag the enemies with you. Now, that's probably one of the only ways you could stay alive on the Demon Hunter here, even on this normal level. The Demon Hunter kind of prefers to let the Necromancer do the level 18 and get the gems. And then after level 18, when you unlocked the gems, you could switch over to the Demon Hunter and then continue along from the 1 to 70 process. Something else to be wary of, even when doing this method of kind of guiding the monsters back to the area, is you can still get cut off, you can still get blocked, you can obviously still die doing this, so be cautious. And the worst thing that could happen is to run into the blue version of these green monsters. If you run into those guys, then they're going to more than likely kill you. It's not an impossibility, but the likelihood is pretty high that they'll be able to take you out. So you can see here, kind of patiently pulling the enemies, still almost died. Wasn't as careful as I should have been here, but all right, you know, overall. We do run into the blue enemies, and there's one green enemy with them. You can see we're slowly whittling down their health. So again, it's not impossible to take them out, but because you make a slight mistake, because one of them hits you, pulls you back, you know, it's just easy to die. So after making our way through there, we managed to make it to level 10. Now, the best thing in the world would be to reach level 11 getting through here. Level 10, even being so close, is not where we want to be. And that's because level 11 is going to let us unlock a skill that does area damage. So we put on our passive, and we're going to head back to town and double check that everything that we have equipped is good. We picked up the Templar about halfway through there to try and keep us alive more. Here's the enemies we screenshotted. You can see how, again, they die pretty easy. As soon as new enemies spawn in, however, they are no longer screenshotted, and they're up to the current level. Now you can see that these are just the bugs that all of the other classes have had absolutely no problem walking through and killing it. But you get on the Demon Hunter, and all of a sudden, it acts like it's in a life or death situation, and these bugs are its worst enemy, and it killed his entire family. And even then, we're not sure if we can take them all out. It honestly is infuriating how frustrating the Demon Hunter is before it hits level 10. So, we need a decent massacre to actually gain up the levels that we need here. And you can see there's level 39. We go ahead and continue through until we unlock the bolas, and as soon as we unlock the bolas, we're good to go. Same exact weapons, same exact skills, everything else, but we changed the devouring arrow to the bolas, and look, we can finally deal damage, we can move forward. All of these bugs, they're nothing to us. The explosion does multiple damage to everything else. And we pick up some extra items as we go through here. Now, one thing that you should be aware of is that I did not find a very good weapon for the Demon Hunter in the footage that you're seeing here. So it could be a lot better, but you know, we have to go with what we're working with here. Later on, I do change out the weapon, and it is noticeable how much of a difference that makes. Once you unlock Vault, I highly recommend you've got it in a good position on your bar, as Vault is going to allow you to be mobile, move around. We've unlocked Chakrams as well at level 12, just one more level, and the Chakrams are going to speed this up so much more. It's going to allow us to do everything that we need to do until we hit level 18, and there's almost no downside to the Chakrams. Now, after going through a couple more levels with the Temple of the Firstborn there, we're going to go ahead and finish off this small massacre that we need here to reach level 18. And you can see that we have upped the difficulty, again, to the wrong one. You'll see that a lot in these first couple videos here. Once I start doing them again in Season 37, I will correct that, so you don't have to worry about that happening. And couple more here until we've got this guy taken out. The slowness over here is driving me insane. But again, seeing that bow on the ground made me realize, wait a minute, you know, I'm stuck over here with this level or damaging 6 item. So, and I had another bow on me the whole time there. I just forgot about it because I thought I had already equipped it. So keep that in mind if you're following along and you're wondering, well, maybe it'll do better with the better weapon. Obviously, it will. So we put on those better weapons. We're going over to fight Magda. And something to keep in mind is I want you to watch the chakrams right here. Immediately when I'm throwing them, they're hitting her. And then as soon as she backs up, she's in a gap and I'm not really paying attention. Her health does not go down because she's standing in the gap of those chakrams. So I just wasted a lot of energy there. And I have to make sure that I'm standing in a way where these chakrams are hitting Magda and actually doing damage. Everybody else around her moves or is in a big enough space that the chakrams will hit them. But Magda's the one that we want to keep an eye on and focus on and make sure that we're actually taking her out properly. So that would be kind of really the only downside to the chakrams that I'm thinking of, is their single target damage is not the best, especially with a mobile enemy. But we take her out no problem, and the game does reward us with the belt, although I doubt it's going to be a very good one. We open that up and hope to get our diamonds, and since the game gave us the belt, it says no to the diamonds, which means we're going to have to go through to some of the other areas and try again until we get diamonds. We got the Hellcat waist guard. Not a good belt. Alright, so we got Zoltan Cool, and he's kind enough to give us 1 diamond, but obviously we need 2. Our bag's full. We're going to scrap that and go through and open another one and finally get the remaining diamonds that we need. Again, Azmodan's been pretty helpful in regards to the diamonds lately, making me a little bit nervous when it comes to starting the actual season. I'm worried that I'm going to get no such luck when it comes to diamonds at all. So we're going to go back and we're going to train it up to level 2 and upgrade to the Flawless Diamond. Once we have that, we can put it in the inventory. Again, the fastest way to do this, do it all in the Necromancer up to here, and then create the Demon Hunter and equip all of the gear, the gambling and stuff on the level 1 Demon Hunter. And that'll probably be the easiest and best experience for you guys if you're doing the leveling. But some people like to start completely on their class, 100% get it. For the Demon Hunter, you're going to want to upgrade the Daggers. And the Daggers are not going to be equipped, they're going to be extracted. This season in particular, if you get Karlei as point, you're golden. That is going to be the best thing that you can get. Now, we got Lord Greenhorn's fan. This is decent. When I first saw the kind of description of it, I thought this isn't going to be very good. After actually using it, it's pretty good. So we extract it and we actually equip it on our character this time to make sure that it can be used. We already have Fan of Knives, or Bladed Knives, I think. I'm not sure what the actual skill is, but you can see it ticking up at the bottom of the screen there. Every second that we don't use the skill, it's going to get an increase in damage, which means it's perfect for killing elites. We're going to craft a bow and quiver, and then we're going to go straight down the middle again for all of the other items that we need on the Demon Hunter here. If you haven't seen any of the other videos, you'll know that the reason that I'm doing that is to make it consistent across the classes, and hopefully for when you guys do it yourself, you'll have more damage and power than what I'm showcasing in the videos here. The reason that I'm showcasing a lot of these videos instead of just kind of doing a quick talk through on, you know, what to do, here are your skills, click this, click that, is because I want you guys to, if you're playing hardcore or if you're on normal, I want you to think, all right, you know, Midnight Sun managed to go through a portal on a T4 with most of his gear on, and he did it okay. That means that since I have all my gear on and I'm also on T4 in a similar level, I should be able to go through maybe an extra level on here. So we make sure we've got all our skills equipped and good. We bumped the difficulty to Torment 6. There's the Fan of Knives skill. And that's going to be a kind of last resort one for us, or when there's just a whole bunch of enemies around us. Again, we're going to stick with the bolas and the chakram for the most part. I went ahead and threw on the companion. Later on, I was supposed to switch this over to the boar companion or the spider companion or the bat companion, you know, any of the other runes, but I think I forgot. As we're going through here, we're looking for some decent weapons and armor to scrap, because getting the resources is always going to be useful in case we got something bad on our gear and we want to upgrade to something else. This is going to be pretty much the same as any of the other classes. If you're at the cursed chest, I recommend kind of standing in this corner and just shooting up to the left and then up to the right, chakrams, and moving back and forth. We've got a Vision of Enmity. We're just going to hop in it real quick to screenshot the enemies where they're at, check it out in case it's the goblins, and then come right back out and get the rest of these monsters here so that we can build up the massacre higher. We're probably going to continue through a bit of the visions there since we are pretty low level. So this is going to allow us to boost the levels, boost the chance of having some good items, and then of course have a decent massacre going in to hopefully continue it to a 400 or a 500. So after doing that and making sure we get all those, we rush back in, we keep our massacre, which is great. We're going to be able to kill all the first enemies in here, no problem. We still have the Fan of Knives. We do have Necrosis on our debuff there, so that's something to keep an eye on. And again, the goal here is to move through these pretty quickly. You don't want to take longer than maybe 15 seconds at the most in each of the visions. If it starts to take more than that, you can always hop through. This is 5 levels deep, by the way, and there's the Fan of Knives just taking out the elites here. And then once there's only a couple left, we can stick with the normal skills. So I just wanted to showcase, even 5 levels deep here in the early game, the Fan of Knives does a great job taking them out. Now again, we go through the next area. We can take out normal monsters, okay. We're starting to find some legendaries. So we're going to do our best to pick those up as we go. I will show you the legendaries that I picked up through here. This is the 6th level over here. We've got Necrosis, but we're dealing at so much damage. We have the Wraps of Clarity. It's keeping us alive. And we're almost to a 400 massacre over here. So you can see that we're doing a great job in maintaining the massacres while moving through here. At this point, we might want to consider exiting, but we can go a little bit deeper. And when we do, we run into the Rift Guardians. This is now 8 levels deep. And the Fan of Knives managed to take one of them out and almost take out the other 2. So we're going to let the Fan of Knives build up again and hit it one more time to take out the rest. Now, at this point, safe to get out. Okay, we don't want to continue through there. The Rift Guardians are pretty scary. They took a while to kill, and it's not really safe to continue going through the rest of those. So here's everything that we got. A nice full inventory. We're going to go ahead and scrap pretty much everything. And we'll go ahead and check out those legendaries, although I'm sure most of you have already seen what all of them are at a glance kind of there for those who have played the game long. We've got the Squirt's Necklace, which is great. We've got a Leoric Signet, which we could throw on. I'm not sure why I didn't. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and look through the rest of those. Some of those can go on the follower. Again, equip what works. I'm just going to go ahead and scrap most of this stuff because I'm not absolutely needing it right now. And now we're just going to go back in, clear the monsters like all the other classes. This is just to kind of showcase what it's capable of. Again, we're Torment 6. We haven't had to drop difficulty pretty much whatsoever on the Demon Hunter. It does an absolutely fantastic job of maintaining these kind of high difficulties going through here. Now this time through, I was wise enough not to open up the chest here. I knew that I had this large massacre. This is the final area, so I wasn't going to go anywhere else. I opened up these other ones because they're really not really that big of a deal. And our goal is to gather them all up. You can see that the enemies are taking quite a while, but one little Fan of Knives is going to take most of those guys out. And then we're left with 1 or 2 stragglers, which isn't that big of a deal. We could hit him with another Fan of Knives, even at a low level, to take him out if we wanted to, but the Chakrams are doing a pretty decent amount of work there. Now at this point, we're going to open up the Resplendent Chest, and now it's going to be a level 63 items that drop. There's another thing that we cannot use, so we're going to have to drop it here. We did get a decent emerald there that we could throw on our gear, but it's not really necessary. So after doing that run there, we decided to drop the difficulty a little bit more. We're on Torment 3, just to make this a little bit easier going through, a little bit safer. You can see that it's not too difficult here whatsoever. My wife just gave me a peanut butter cookie, and now my mouth is really kind of dry here, and I'm still sick. So it feels hard for me to breathe getting through these videos here. But anyway, we're going through this again until we hit the final level, which is going to be level 70. And I have not had a single issue with the Demon Hunter here. The Fan of Knives has been absolutely tremendous in taking out huge groups of enemies like that. The Resplendent Chest has been pretty helpful too, and adding to my character if I wanted it to, although I, again, haven't needed to add anything. So it's just going to take a couple more runs through here. I've been going up about 2 levels every single run through here as long as I maintain a decent massacre. So once you hit 60, you should have to do about 5 runs or so, and then you'll be able to finish it off at level 70. And there it is. That's level 70. Let me know if you guys like this format, if you'd like me to change it to something different. I'm going to try and tweak these and go with what works best for everybody here, or even doing some split videos depending on the preference that you guys like when it comes to each season. You know, our goal is to try and improve just a little bit each time. But there you can kind of see the gear that we have on us, what our damage and stuff is, and what our armor and toughness is. It's not crazy high or anything on here, and we managed to do this one relatively fast. We did it in about an hour or so, just like all the other classes. So have a good one. Bye.